Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Moving the Goalpost Leftovers. I'm Nick DiMartino. That's Nick Morgeson. We got a lot to get to today. A lot of, I guess you could say, a lot of media stuff. It's almost like another press row, a little bit. um, so leading off, we got Gary Cohen is in a little bit of hot water. He actually, I don't know when you want to play this, but Boomer and Geo got in on the whole controversy.
Well, I think we should talk about the scenario first. So
Right. We
obviously,
got to talk about the scenario first. So
yeah. So
you,
basically, the Mets are at Wrigley Field, and it's funny. So I've heard different scenarios, and people talk about it different ways. The one I hear is that the Mets were trailing 5-1, so Gary Cohen needed something to fill time, and I was like, no, no, no,
that's
no, no. That's not how you fill
well.
time.
First of all, in baseball, whether they're winning 5-1, losing 5-1, the game is tied. The vast majority of the time in baseball, the broadcasters have to fill time. Anybody who watches a baseball game knows this. That they always are constantly trying to fill time. It's very like most baseball games are not super tense the entire game. So, like, it's all a bunch of casual conversations, especially in the regular season in baseball. So that's always kind of the case, I would say.
Right. I mean, when I was at LIU, I called women's and men's basketball. Trying to fill time between possessions was impossible.
Now
I call,
imagine what that's like in baseball. It's way hard.
I called baseball games at LIU too. It was tough,
Yeah.
but basically, I shouldn't say long story short because we are going to spend time on it. But basically, Gary Cohen starts to go on a diatribe against Matt Shaw. I don't know what position he plays. I think he's the third baseman for the Cubs. Um,
I think so.
how he went to Charlie Kirk's funeral. And Gary Cohen just goes on and on and on, saying he doesn't understand how he decided to leave the team in the middle of a pennant race.
Yeah.
And he basically got a lot of facts wrong.
Yeah. Well, what he said was it's a little weird that he left his team to go to the memorial or the funeral, whatever it was.
But the scenario is, though, he says that, but he doesn't say
Right.
is that he got permission from the Cubs to
Not
go.
only did he get permission from the Cubs, he was personally invited by Charlie Kirk's wife
Yeah.
to go to that memorial. So he made it sound like the way Gary Cohen said it, and he may have thought this because he might just not have done his due diligence, but he made it sound like he was just a fan of his podcast and then decided to go to the memorial and didn't have any type of personal, like, wasn't personally like a friend of his, which makes it completely different. Like that's a completely different thing. And if you've ever like something witnessing something that traumatic, it's like, yeah, you're gonna go.
It was in front of millions of people. He got shot in the neck. I mean, like, other things that Gary fails to point out is they lived in the same neighborhood. They knew each
Yeah.
other personally. So there's a lot more connection than saying, "Oh, I just wanted to defy the Cubs." Which, by the way, if he was denied and he went, this would be a whole different story.
It would be a much, much bigger story than this.
Right. Well, I don't know if it'd be a much bigger story. It would just be Gary Cohen would be partially right in this scenario if that was the case.
You know what I'm saying? If he was denied and the Cubs denied him, there would have been hell and fury at like the Cubs organization, is what I'm saying. If
Yes,
that had happened.
but I don't know. Gary Cohen's diatribe was outrageous, and then I forgot who was doing the broadcast. I think Todd Zeal was in the booth next to because Keith and Ron were not doing that game that
Right,
day,
right.
and Todd Zeal was going on an outrageous rant about the bereavement list and how back in the day we didn't leave unless we had a family emergency or the wife was pregnant
Yeah.
or and I was like, "Oh my god, what is going on in this booth?" And and then Callan and I were actually watching the 3-minute video where they were talking about it and you could tell that he was not even paying attention to the game because two batters went by, and he didn't do the play-by-play at all for the 2 straight batters while he's going on this rant.
Yeah, it was really just, I would say, very ill-advised. It was a very ill-advised rant, and it's like I I think that Gary Cohen just kind of thought that he was just a fan of his podcast or something and went to a very public funeral, basically, is what he thought. When but clearly that wasn't actually the case. And I think he should come out and at least issue some type of apology and said, sorry, I got that wrong.
Well,
Like,
that too, but first of all, you're a play-by-play broadcaster. You're not a talk show host. You're not
right,
doing a show. When you're in a play-by-play scenario, no one is first of all, you're not supposed to give your opinion while you're
right.
doing play-by-play on a
That's
broadcast.
also a good point.
And because, like I said, I have this experience. I told Callan about a time where our women's team was really good at LIU. Like they were like they went undefeated. Like they were that good. And our best player was out for a month, and I had no idea. I was trying to dig around, talk to the SID, figure this all out, and then I find out that she failed. Like she didn't meet the academic requirement to be on the team. Like at our school, it was like a 2 GPA for an athlete. She was like a 1.5. It was that bad.
Pretty low bar.
Um, so not the same scenario, but the point I'm getting at is it's weird how people treat these odd scenarios with athletes and the personal choices that they make. And long story short, I say that on the air that it was an academic violation. I got in trouble because I said it was an academic violation on the air. And
Why? Why would you? But that's literally what happened.
so when I spoke to the SID, it's not like he said to me, like, don't say anything. Don't like
Right, right.
if he said to me, don't say anything, I wouldn't have said anything. But he just told me the information and then ran away. Like, just gave me the information, said it's an academic violation. I was told, oh, it's private information. I'm like, no, it's not. You didn't say that.
Right, right. Unless they tell you that, how do you know that? I mean, we know if like if a college football player misses a game. I remember one time there was a college football player. I forget which team, but he got suspended because he cheated on an open book test.
Wait, is that
I
even
was like, wait,
possible?
how do you cheat on an open book test? It's
You
called open
can't.
book. Like I
An open
don't
book test is cheating if you think about it.
like that's just a test that like here's the thing. Open book tests are kind of like the open marriage of tests. That's
Yes.
like you
My,
can't really cheat in an open marriage. It's the same type of thing. But, so if that's public information, then I think that like that also sounds like it's perfectly public information too.
but the long story short is like he said to me, "Oh, you overstepped by releasing that information." I didn't think so, but I just didn't want to fight with them, and I said whatever.
No, I
And
agree with you. I don't think there's anything wrong with that unless they
but
tell you not to say it.
in this scenario, this is like a very public situation with hundreds of thousands of people watching a broadcast,
Yeah.
and you're calling him out for going and grieving. Like, what are you
Yeah.
supposed to do?
It's this weird thing where it's like it seems like a lot of broadcasters, and this has really been a thing a lot, where a lot some broadcasters seem to just think that that an athlete's sport is like the most important thing in their life and nothing else matters. I mean, we've seen it a bunch of times with like athletes getting criticized for going on like paternity leave and things like that. Actually, Boomer Esiason did it once with Daniel Murphy. Uh,
Yes, I
but
remember that.
he's not the only one. It's actually happened a bunch of times. It happened to Al Horford once when he was with
Paternity
the
leave
Hawks.
is much more common now than it once was. But
But like also Todd Zeal doing the whole back in my day thing. It's
oh,
like they did a lot of things back in the day that you don't want to.
well, here's the weird thing, and this is what other people fail to realize, and I'm sure he probably forgot this too. The bereavement list goes all the way back to 2003. So they're acting like this has never happened before. That like you have a death in the family, a friend, close friend, death in the family, pregnancy, I don't know, injury to a family member. So that was like that back in my day reference was a little outdated.
Yeah, because Todd Zeile was definitely playing past 2003. I remember watching him on the Mets.
He was a Yankee at one point, I think,
Yeah.
also. But the other irony, which I started to bring up to you before we started, do you remember earlier this year that Gary Cohen's dog passed away?
Yeah,
What do you think Gary Cohen did?
he missed the game.
He missed the game.
By the way, I don't criticize him for that at all. I don't criticize him for that at all. I'm just saying he also did it. Like,
This is hypocrite syndrome going on here. Like, you're getting mad at him. First of all, another no-no when you're talking on a broadcast or a show. He started the rant by saying, "I really don't want to talk about the politics of this," but like he literally that's how he started the statement. This is I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't want to talk politics, don't say I don't want to talk about politics because you're clearly leaning that way.
yeah, and I understand he wasn't really talking about the politics of it per se, but it's like it's going to be perceived that way, especially in today's day and age of social media where clips just go viral. Like, obviously, that's going to happen, especially when people have the actual facts of the situation, and he just didn't.
I mean, I let's listen to the Geo
Yeah,
comment
yeah. Gio
because
responded to it.
and by the way,
It's a long clip.
it's a long clip, but it's worth we'll stop a little bit within it. But what I will tell you is, and this is even from me, this is the one time that I agreed with Gio on something. I don't say that very often, but he actually got this one right. So we'll stop at points. We're here.
I quite frankly didn't like his commentary, and I'm not going to now dislike Gary Cohen over it. He's a great broadcaster. He's been a part of my life for a long time. I thought it was completely unnecessary, and it just felt like Gary Cohen's whole life is baseball, and baseball is a very serious thing for him. But Matt Shaw saw his friend get shot and killed, got shot in the neck in front of his family, and his wife requested that he be there, and Gary Cohen's got a problem with that because the Cubs are in a pennant race? Like, have we lost all touch with reality here?
Well, some have.
Like, I mean, it doesn't, and he's like, it doesn't fall under the MLB's bereavement policy. Who gives a crap? If he wants to go to that, he can go to that. And don't be mad at him. If you're mad at anything, why you're mad, why you care, I have no idea. But be mad at the Cubs who granted him the ability to go.
The Cubs supported him 100%, by the way, because I saw the interview with him, and he was talking about how he was friendly with Charlie Kirk because they lived in the same area, and there are a couple of pictures of him and Charlie Kirk together. And of course, if Erica Kirk is reaching out to him, I mean, what are you supposed to do? So it was swarmy, 100%, but it is what it is. And he went, and it didn't hurt anybody. And he went and honored his friend, and he felt a real conviction to go and do that. And nobody should have a problem with that.
Yeah, I mean, and also, when you say, I don't want to get into the politics of
You
it.
get into the politics with it by saying that.
Like, Charlie Kirk was a political figure. I mean, there's no two ways about it. So you're bringing that up because of that. Now, let's say we didn't know who Charlie Kirk was, and Matt Shaw was friends with somebody who got shot in the neck and killed in front of his family. Would Gary Cohen have a problem with that because he doesn't know the person who got shot and killed in front of his family? Or is it just because Charlie Kirk had a political platform that Gary Cohen disagrees with, so now it's weird that a baseball player goes over there?
I just think I think what you have to do is you have to put yourself in the situation at hand, that if it were one of your dear friends who got shot and killed in front of millions of people, including his family, and then his wife reaches out to you to come to that funeral, what would you do? If you were Gary Cohen and you were in that situation, what would you do?
He'd probably go, well, are we in the middle of a pennant race?
I mean, that's a good place to stop because they kind of babble afterwards. But my point is, I rarely agree with anything Gio says. He nailed that one as 100% as you could possibly get. And I don't like him because he goes off on tangents and it's really annoying sometimes. But what is Shaw supposed to do?
Yeah, what is he supposed to do? Say no because my team is in a pennant race? Like, that sounds crazy.
The
And
team will
look,
be there when you get back. Trust me.
look, honestly, it's better if Gary Cohen didn't know this and just didn't do his due diligence before commenting on this story than if he had known that story and still said that. Because I feel like he probably wouldn't have said that had he known that part of the story, because that changes that changes everything, because because now it's a personal thing. The fact that he was personally invited makes it so much different, as
Ru-
opposed to like him just going to a rally, which Gary Cohen seems to think that it was.
I want to hear. I hope some. This is going to be weird because I don't know if they have a game tomorrow or not. I think they do, but
You're playing right now.
I'm saying. Oh, I wonder if he got interviewed by the media before the game. That would have been interesting if he got asked about the whole incident or whatnot.
Oh, you
But
mean Matt Shaw?
no, I'm talking about Gary Cohen.
Oh,
'Cause
Gary Cohen. Yeah, I don't know, but he probably should have addressed it, and it was a really bad the point is, I think it was just a really bad idea to
But
bring it up.
but what makes you come like he was stalling or trying to wait for him to come up to at bat, which is what he did, which was even weirder to be frank. But like, why would you tell that story? And number one, you flipped it into your political views.
Right, because, like, ultimately, like Gio said, and like you said, you can't just say, "I don't wanna get into the politics of it," even if you think you're not being political. Like, it sounds like you are to most people. Like, that's just what it seems like. So it was just dumb for him to even bring it up.
Yeah, I mean, this is a lose-lose situation the way I look at it. Um, the Mets are kind of a little bit on the fringe of the playoffs at the same time, and you really don't need negative attention.
Yeah,
Or-
it's the
or-
last thing.
They're the highest payroll right now in Major League Baseball at $330 million, and they might miss the playoffs.
Yeah, I would be I would be much more worried about that, but yeah, it is weird to me that there's like all this like this type of controversy with the Mets broadcaster, whereas like rather than like the story of the team,
Well,
like
the other weird thing too is I don't know, like if you've ever followed the booth rankings for all the teams, like Awful Announcing does it a lot. Um, the Mets are always at the top of like all the rankings. I think they're actually a fairly good booth for the most part.
I think they were a very good booth. I'm biased, but I think they were very. I think they're the best booth.
I think
I'm
even as a
biased.
Yankee fan, I could say they were at the top when it
Yeah.
comes to. But this is not the first time they've had an issue like this in their booth.
When
Not this specifically, but they've called out. Like Callan told me earlier today that like the booth went after Padre players, like they went after a Tatis Jr. for the way he looks and like all that stuff. And
I
so,
don't remember.
but I kind of remember it slightly, but I don't know, like wrong place, wrong time. My opinion.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. Yeah, has he addressed it at all?
I mean, I'm
I
looking
don't think he
around.
has, right?
I mean, if he's going to run away from it, that's going to be worse. But I mean, I do see some. I guess some people looked up Gary Cohen apology on Twitter. Oh God, that's the name I want to say. Ugh,
What?
Sid Rosenberg talking about
Sid
Gary Cohen.
Rosenberg.
Oh, here's his quote: "Shut up and do the game. Take a cheap shot at a grieving player after Charlie Kirk's funeral was disgusting." Cohen came off like a real jerk off.
Yeah, he's right.
I mean, he's right. In this case, he's right.
He's
But
right. He's right about that.
but like
And
there
by the
are
way, I still love Gary Cohen. Like I have nothing really negative to say about Gary Cohen at all, other than this particular thing.
I think he's a very good broadcaster.
I
That's
think
not
he,
my question here.
yeah,
Like it's it's the motives of the topic. Remember, as the play-by-play broadcaster, you're steering the ship.
yeah, and
On
he of all people should know this with all of his years of experience.
he's been around a very long time. Like
Very, very long time.
I mean, him and Kay, longest broadcasters.
I will say I'm not the biggest Michael Kay fan, but I know that Michael Kay would not have said that.
Oh no, and Kay has said many things on radio before, but never during games.
He would not say it. Certainly not during a Yankee broadcast. He would.
No, but he would have no issue talking about it on a radio show, probably.
Maybe he would, but certainly not during a Yankee
No,
broadcast. He would.
first of all, Yes Network I think is stricter than SNY. To be quite honest,
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. That wouldn't surprise me.
But
if
I don't
they're
know.
stricter.
It is what it is. But it was a terrible look.
Yeah, it was definitely a bad look. And so Jimmy Kimmel is back
Yeah,
after about a suspension,
indefinite suspension.
the indefinite suspension for 6 days. This
I don't even know if it was 6 days. I think it was the end of the week, and then he came back on Tuesday.
Yeah, it effectively was just 3 or 4 shows that he missed,
Yeah,
I think it was.
you're right.
4
Um,
shows maybe. This was just a situation that just never should have happened, is how I would
yeah,
put it.
and some
It
people are, and comedians are going around saying like his freedom of speech is being violated when they took him off the air. And I'm like, some of these comedians are some of the dumbest people I've ever seen. But because, well, one, because they only think one level minded on certain
yeah,
things. But you work for a corporation. They have the right to fire you if they want to fire you.
right. Yes, and that's a big part of it. Obviously, the waters were muddied a little bit though when the FCC comes out and says we're going to do this the easy way or the hard way, and then ABC fires him, and then
That was
so
bad. That was bad.
the waters are very mud. Like it's hard to look at it with a straight face and be like, well, the company just decided to fire him. It was a little more complicated.
He wasn't even really fired technically. They just put him on the sidelines until they could figure out what they were going to do. They didn't really have to do that technically, but
And then they brought him back. So to me, it was a situation that just honestly never should have happened. Like I'm not a fan of late night comedy,
I'm not either.
but I didn't think it was really like a huge win that he was taken off under those particular circumstances because it kind of just made a martyr out of him
Yes,
in a sense.
agreed. I mean,
Uh,
the issue I have more, and again, I don't love talking politics, but the man in charge is kind of out of control too, because basically he's going after all late night TV hosts. It's not just Jimmy. Like he put out a Truth Social post saying like he wants NBC to fire Fallon. Like
Yeah, and it just it's just it gets really goofy after a while to the point like I'm not really a big fan of any of that. It's just to me it makes sense to fire a lot of these late night hosts because the shows just aren't very good and they aren't
they're
making a lot of money.
hemorrhaging money. Like Colbert's show was hemorrhaging so much money. Now I know Trump had partially to do with that because he was forcing CBS's hand essentially with that lawsuit, but that show was
The truth
hemorrhaging so much money.
the truth is though, anything that happens with these really big companies, like the government is somewhat involved regardless. Like it's almost hard for it not to be. Um, but I saw some story that like ABC was like forced a hand between the NFL
Yes.
and Jimmy Kimmel.
Okay, so Cowan and I did talk about that on Press Row. I'm glad you brought that up because there's a few different scenarios of looking at stuff, and in a weird way, Rachel Nichols kind of got put herself in the middle of it
Yeah,
too.
because I saw Rachel Nichols tweeted it out. And by the way, like she hasn't. What is she doing now, Rachel Nichols?
She actually is working for quite a few networks. She's on Monumental, which is in Washington. She's on Fox Sports One. She's doing Sports Illustrated now. So she's kind of found her
She's just
legs in.
hopping around everywhere. Another ESPN exile.
Well, I mean, here's the irony about this with her getting involved in the tweet that I am referring to, by the way, which I have over here. So it says, will Disney have to choose between the NFL and Jimmy Kimmel / those who've canceled their subscriptions? The deal that gives the NFL a 10% stake in ESPN is going to require approval from various government regulatory agencies. The front office sports article cites multiple sources predicting that Trump will direct those agencies to block the deal if Disney stock drops 7% after the suspended Kimmel due to customers canceling subscriptions. So here's my problem with that tweet. You know there's irony of Rachel Nichols writing this tweet, right?
That she used to work. Oh, that she was fired from ESPN.
Yeah. So Rachel Nichols was fired because she was canoodling in the COVID bubble while the NBA was in at the Disney bubble.
That's not what happened.
It's
I thought it was because of the Maria Taylor thing.
well that, but there was also other speculation that she was like in Jimmy Butler's room and a bunch of other
You almost said
rooms.
Jimmy Kimmel.
I know. I almost did. Yes.
Yeah, no, there were rumors. I don't know if I'm not convinced that that's why she was fired. I thought it was more because of the leaked tape of what she said about
You
Maria.
are right. That's most of it because she said some pretty racist things about Maria Taylor.
No, she didn't. She was claiming that that's what ESPN told her. That was the argument that she was making. Now, I don't know if she's telling the truth or not, but frankly, I find
Well,
it believable.
it was on the tape though that she thought like it was almost like what do they call that? A diversity hire. Like she
No,
was
but what she was saying on the tape though was that that's what ESPN told her.
okay. And what's the number one rule when you're around media equipment?
Yeah, obviously, don't reveal. But the point is that there's
No,
a
no, 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 no.
difference.
Wait a minute. Not that. When you're around a microphone or anything, what is the number one rule in media? Do you know?
Make sure it's off. I would say, or don't say any.
Always assume a mic
Oh,
is
always assume it's on. That's right. Always assume it's on.
so obviously she was not the brightest bulb in the box of that scenario to know. And first of all, for the producer or whatever to take that tape and to
That's crazy.
give it to the executive,
It sounds like a setup.
right? That's what it felt like. But for her to put that tweet out and go after Disney and say like they have to make a choice between Kimmel and the NFL when she got herself in trouble for and almost destroying ABC and Disney over a big scandal was I thought that was a little ironic to say the least.
Well, I mean, the funny thing is that Maria Taylor and Rachel Nichols are both not even there anymore. Like in the end, it didn't even matter.
Well, I think Maria Taylor, even though Rachel thinks she's a better, I don't even know, better reporter, media person, Maria Taylor is doing way more, and she's higher ranked at NBC.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. Well, at least now she is.
I think Maria Taylor is better than Rachel Nichols, to be quite honest.
Yeah, well, she's a very good sideline reporter. I mean, they're just different. Rachel Nichols is more of a TV show host. Remember she hosted The Jump on ESPN, and she really only does basketball. It seems like she doesn't.
Yeah, she's pretty much a basketball person, except for on the Monumental Network in Washington. She does a little more.
I guess it's a common trend for a lot of these media people, a lot of these former ESPN people, that they end up like doing better after they leave.
I mean, go ask Stan Verrett and Neil Everett recently, who just started their new podcast, which we just had Stan on. He said he's moons better without ESPN. Now,
yeah, he probably feels that way. Well, first of all, I'm sure ESPN had to still pay him.
His contract was up finally.
Oh, okay, then that's not
so.
true,
but now he's doing the Saints digital coverage for pre and post. He's now FanDuel TV actually hired him for Clippers pre and post coverage, and they gave him a national show across the regional networks. So I don't think he's complaining too much.
Well, he has a lot more freedom now than he did when he was at ESPN, I'm sure.
I mean, Stan and Neil doing the show after they did SportsCenter in LA, that's a much. I watched the show a few episodes. That's he explained to us on the interview that the podcast is what is the stuff they would do in the newsroom before they went on air.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the more fun show to see than what's on SportsCenter.
Do you think they took a pay cut? That's a good question. That's a question I have.
A pay cut for what?
No, I'm saying being on ESPN compared to what they're doing now.
That's a good question. I don't know. But I mean, Stan is doing Clippers pre and post. I mean, that's a normal job.
Is he a Clippers fan? Is he an LA guy?
He is an LA guy. He still lives in LA even after the show was over. So
but were they doing the show in Bristol?
No, they were in LA for like 10
they were
plus
in
years.
LA. Is that why they're not there anymore? Like I know they shut down all the LA.
That's part of it. Part of it is they picked up SportsCenter and moved it out of LA and put. This is dumb. They put the late version of SportsCenter back in Bristol, which means it's going to be live at like 1 a.m.
weird to me that ESPN's headquarters are in the middle of nowhere in Connecticut. That is so weird to me.
There's like
Like
no restaurants. There's like no anything. It's literally like in a treed area.
Bristol, it's like it's I guess it's like right in the midpoint between New York and Boston, roughly.
Well, that's why they moved most of the major stuff into New York so that there's more to do.
Well, yeah, but like the thing is, if you live in the New York area and you want to work at ESPN, you have to uproot your entire life, basically. Like, is there a way? Like, if you live in New York or New Jersey, is there a way to commute to all the way to Bristol every day?
Not easily unless you're taking an
Unless they have
Amtrak.
a bus for you. But it seems like everything they like. Stephen A. Smith is in New York.
Well, he's taking private jets. He's an outlier, but
No, but
uh,
like a lot of the radio shows, I think, are also in New York.
they were originally in Bristol. Now most of the national shows are in New York.
Yeah, no, I'm saying they were in Bristol, but now a lot of them are in New York.
Unless they're TV talents, because some of them still are. But I'm trying to remember. Most of them are in New York now. Well, Stephen A. is doing radio now for Mad Dog, so he's not even. That's how desperate he wanted to do radio. He went to a competitor.
And they let him do it.
Well,
Satellite radio.
because he's Stephen A. He can do whatever
Well,
he
he
wants.
also has a personal relationship with Mad Dog. So
Well, it's also Stephen A. He can do whatever he wants. He can
right,
break
but
every
what I'm
rule.
saying is like Mad Dog brought him on First Take, and now Mad Dog's like doing him a favor by bringing him on his channel.
It's a good lineup too. I mean, him leading into Dog like every day. That's an incredible lineup.
But like this isn't strictly a sports show that he's doing. He's
Well, so the way the Sirius deal works, he's on doing sports Monday through Friday from 1 to 3. The political show Straight Shooter is only on Wednesdays.
it's only a Wednesday show.
It's only a weekly show, I think, from 6 to 8.
But that's not Mad Dog Radio. Right?
No, it's on POTUS channel.
Okay, so it's a completely separate. So he goes from doing First Take to then doing.
So he's got an hour break. He's got an hour break because First Take ends at noon Eastern, and then he goes to do radio from 1 to 3. He doesn't go in those studios in Sirius. He literally does it from that same place you see him in all his videos.
Yeah, he has an hour break. He probably preps a little bit, but the producers probably do most of the prepping, and then he just goes into the studio and then just goes live.
I mean, that's what I laugh at all the time. People say, "Oh, well, the host works so hard." Yeah, it's the producers.
Yeah, no. The hosts do work hard. I don't doubt that they do. But the producers, they put the shows together. I mean, proof of this, I would say, is Peter Rosenberg, who's like, he's doing Hot 97 in the morning. He's doing ESPN radio in the afternoon. And then he's doing the show Real Late with Peter Rosenberg, also on Hot 97. I don't know if that's live or not.
Does he still do that?
I think he still does. But even if I don't know if it's a live show or not, but like I was just thinking, when does he sleep? Does he ever sleep?
That's a good question. By the way, you're right. It is on Hot 97. I think that's a Sunday night show, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I think that might be the case. But the point is, I was just like, like he also does WWE, and it's like, how does he have time to do anything else other than
he does WWE? He does a podcast with Michelle Beadle. What was the other? He does another thing too, which I can't remember off the top of my. Oh, he's on that Sirius XM WWE channel now.
Yeah.
Also, so like he's everywhere. And by the way, they extended the Hot 97 morning show because they what's it called? Tightened up the lineup.
Yeah.
So now, if I'm not mistaken, I think what is the name of that morning show again? I always forget.
On Hot 97.
Yeah, that he's
Ebro in the
on.
morning.
Yeah, Ebro. Yeah, it's on from 5 to 11 now. 5 a.m. to 11. Yeah.
It's 6 hours?
Yeah.
He's on for so he goes from doing a 5 a.m. to 11 a.m. radio show.
Probably gets a break a little bit.
Like a roughly 4-hour break, at least between the well, now he's on at 3, right?
He was always on with Michael and Don before they changed that to
what did they change it to? Don LaGreca
so it's
and
Don
Peter
Hahn.
Rosenberg now
No,
on
it's
at 3,
Don
right?
Hahn and Rosenberg. So it's
Okay.
So it's Don, it's Alan Hahn and Peter Rosenberg from 3 to 7.
Okay, so
That's a long day though.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's 10 hours a day on the air. That's insane.
It's 50 hours a week. It's more than a full-time job.
I mean, and that's just on the air. That doesn't take into account the times you're not on the air.
WWE,
the work,
podcasts. I want to look this up because I'm curious since we're on the topic of it. Like Peter Rosenberg podcast. I want to see what comes up. Oh yeah, it's right. He does Cheap Heat on Spotify with The Ringer. That's another WWE show that he does. See what else I can find. His name is everywhere. It's everywhere. I've never seen someone work as. And you remember he used to get shit because people say like he doesn't work hard, like at
Yeah,
all.
that's obviously not true. He was
That's
working
not
all
true.
the time.
I was like, Jesus, like this guy doesn't take a breath. He got divorced and got remarried. That's how hard he's been working.
Yeah, I wonder why he got divorced. He probably never spent any time with his wife.
You know who he was married to originally, right?
Yeah, the girl on MLB Network.
Alexa Dat. Yeah.
Alexa Dat, yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at all this. So look, Hot 97 from 2007 to now, ESPN 2016 to now, and WWE 2016 to now. I mean, like, holy cow.
I never even thought of him as a sports guy before he ended up getting hired by ESPN.
I have no idea, but for that show to be 5 to 11 every morning now is just
Yeah, the math. I don't know how that.
4 hours of radio, and that's normal drive
No,
time.
I think it's 6 to 10.
I could have sworn they redid the lineup. I'm looking that up now.
Sure, it's a 6 to 10 show.
Nope, they changed it. It's 5 to 11 on. Yeah, it says Hebrew in the morning, 5 a.m. to 11 a.m.
What I'm seeing is 5 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Oh, I'm actually on the Hot 97 site. That's
Oh, okay.
still nuts, regardless. 5 to 10, 5 to 11.
Way, it's still insane.
I don't know. I think he works way hard that people give him credit for.
Oh, he clearly did. And I'm not a Peter Rosenberg fan.
I'm not a huge fan either.
He does work very hard. He does work.
He's a little annoying at times.
Yeah. So I do want to talk about a little bit some more sports media stuff. You see, First Take hired Drew Brees.
Yes, I watched the episode that he was on.
I didn't see it. I mean, people are talking almost like talking about, oh, now that Molly Kerum's not there, they brought in Drew Brees. I think Stephen A. Smith likes to have a whole bunch of former athletes to come on as analysts.
Of course, that's his MO. It's like, let me just talk to athletes all the time. And
yeah,
he said, and on his first serious show, he said, "Oh, I'm doing a full show just on my own with no guests. I don't need them." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay." He's like, I had that planned so I could talk to the fans for 2 hours. And I'm like,
well, do you think Drew Brees is like a good fit for
No.
First Take? I was thinking he probably isn't. Like, he doesn't seem to have that type of fiery personality. I could be wrong, but he doesn't seem to have that type of fiery personality that fits really well with First Take. Like, the best former athlete for First Take was probably JJ Redick.
JJ screwed up his career because I think that he was doing the podcast. He had the 3-man and the whatever that podcast was called, 3-man and the Jump or whatever. And like he had deals with DraftKings and he had deals for everything. And he was on ESPN. He was on the finals crew for the NBA finals. And he was desperate enough that he had the itch to be the Lakers head coach.
Yeah. And then, but like, I think I'm not saying he's a bad head coach. I think he's better as a media personality than he is a head coach with way less pressure on him.
Again, he gave up all that money too.
Well, there's way less pressure on him because you know what? Honestly, he was cooking everybody when he was on First Take.
I used to like it too.
As an analyst. Like, he was the best analyst that they could have had, especially for that type of show. And then it's like, as an analyst, there's way less pressure on you. I mean, like, Kendrick Perkins is still around and has some of the most absurd takes I've ever heard.
Kendrick Perkins, sometimes I wonder like if he's on something when he walks on the First Take set. Always.
But, the thing with First Take is that Stephen A. Smith handpicks everybody. Everybody's handpicking.
He's an executive producer on there now.
Yeah, so he's handpicking everybody to be on the show. So Stephen A. Smith must see something in Drew Brees.
I mean, I don't know. The reason that I heard this deal happen is because Drew Brees is trying to recover because he was on, what was it, Football Night in America for a season. He tanked big time. What was the other thing he did? So he did that, and then he was on the Netflix game, and he's going to be doing that again this year for Christmas. And they said he wasn't great last year doing that either.
In fairness, you got to give him a chance, though. Like we don't really know. Like, I don't know if that's totally fair because sometimes I feel like everybody, when they're first starting as broadcasters, they're not great.
I just don't think he has the personality, like to be.
For a show like First Take, I think that's probably true. It doesn't seem to have the type of personality where he is super dug into his opinions, and with that type of personality, it doesn't seem like it to me.
So I don't know how. I saw you talked about it last week, but who do you think they're going to replace Molly with?
Probably somebody we haven't heard of.
Do you think you think it's going to be within or no?
Yeah. Because they've had guest hosts. I don't really know who any of them are, honestly.
I think Shea Cornett. I think she's one of the best. I think they should put her in the spot. She was filling in a couple of days this past week. And then I heard some outside names, but I think they're going to go on the inside. It's going to be whoever Stephen A. Smith wants.
Well, obviously. But I mean, look, there's any number of people in-house that you can replace her with. Like, where are they going to go to get somebody outside of ESPN? Like, why would they go outside of ESPN when they have a whole bunch of people there?
They had what's his name, who they just brought over from NFL Network. He was hosting this past week. I don't know why I'm forgetting his name. He was on Fox and then Good Morning Football. They just brought him over to ESPN.
Peter Schrager?
Yeah, Peter Schrager was hosting. I don't know how I feel about that, but
I think Peter Schrager should be a panelist.
Yeah, he's great, knowledgeable NFL guy by far. And those predictions that he does at the beginning of every season, he's like almost spot on, like every time. I don't know. First Take is kind of like ran its course, in my opinion, a little.
But it hasn't, because it still gets huge ratings. I think it will run its course eventually, whenever Stephen A. Smith decides to retire in like 30 years from now, probably. But like he's going to be in his 80s still going. But I
Take him out in the box.
I think it eventually will run its course. I just don't think the sports debate format has come close to running its course, because that's the only format of sports television that really works.
I'm so tired of it, to be quite honest.
A lot of people say they're tired of it, but the point is, it works. Like in terms of ratings, it works.
I don't disagree. It's just I don't want to hear manufactured takes. That's what I get annoyed with at times.
I mean, it's only bad if it's obvious that they're manufactured. The point is, though, from a business perspective, remember all the Fox Sports shows that were canceled? Every single one of those shows that was canceled was not a debate show. The debate shows are kept around.
Well, I mean, Craig Carton should have never been a morning show host over at FS1. But
the point is that type of format didn't work because it wasn't a debate format.
Yeah,
it was like a radio show format on TV, which I guess didn't work very well.
Yeah, because Breakfast Ball is such a brilliant name.
It was not a good name.
Exactly. And then they took, I forgot the guy's name, out of Chicago, who
Danny Parkins. And
now they made that show 4 hours, which makes absolutely no sense whatsoever.
Well, what's he doing? Well, he's a contributor on First Things First.
Yeah,
right?
he does the 4th hour with them.
Danny Parkins has a great deal, because he doesn't even host his own show.
Well, he was part of that Breakfast Ball show.
The point is that now he's just hopping around to different shows. He can fill in for Colin Cowherd. He has the best deal.
Well, you do know why he's at FS1, right?
Because Colin Cowherd vouched for him.
He said that Parkins was the best radio show host in the country. That's high praise coming from a guy like Colin Cowherd. But I'm surprised that he didn't do a national radio show instead of the TV gig. I guess obviously the TV gig is going to pay more, but I think the reason he's still here is because they're not just going to throw that money away and burn it.
Right. And he's also it would be dumb for Fox Sport. He's also just a good host. It would be really dumb for them to get rid of him. I
mean, look at Nick Wright. I mean, they keep him around, and some of his stuff is manufactured.
Yeah, well, the thing is, and they found a perfect spot for him on First Things First, which, by the way, he started with Chris Carter. People forget.
No, I remember that. Well, Chris Carter got himself in trouble. That's why he's not at Fox anymore, period.
But what did he get in trouble for?
I have to look this up. Let me see if I can find it.
He's totally just like disappeared from public life, Chris
I think he
Carter.
does a podcast now. I think.
Like every other exile.
Okay, so he got fired or let go. Sorry, let go. In November 2019, following a reported dispute over his role at the network. So I guess it wasn't a. I thought it was an actual controversy, something he got into, but
No, but he was on ESPN. He was on ESPN a lot. I remember him from his ESPN days. Now he's just not even in the conversation.
I mean, him and Stephen A. back in the day when there was Stephen A. and Skip Bayless, he used to go at them like
Oh
big
yeah.
time. And I remember seeing a podcast on YouTube late. It was not too long ago where he just like admitted everything that went on behind the scenes at First Take, like
Well,
just.
yeah, he had nothing to hide.
And I was just like, wow, man, like no one's ever done that.
I think it was more about Skip Bayless than anybody else.
That's true. But him and Marcellus Wiley, who I like watching him do the podcast stuff on the side, and he just exposed everything that went on in the Stephen A. Molly situation too.
What did he say?
He thinks
Marcellus Wiley.
he thinks that Stephen A. should have went to bat and got it paid.
How do you? Yeah, I agree. How do we know he didn't try?
Because if he really wanted her back, he could have. He's got that power.
Yeah, I guess that's possible, but I guess it depends on what Molly Caron's agents were asking for.
Apparently, she wasn't even making $1 million a year, from what I heard.
Crazy.
I mean, if he's making 20 and he claims that I couldn't do the show without her, like, you're telling me not even like 10% of what he makes? Like,
I mean, she's been moderating the show for
10 years.
Maybe even longer. I could be wrong.
I think they said it was like 10 or 12 years. Like, it was
At least 10 years, because before her, it was Carrie Champion.
God, I forgot about Carrie Champion.
And she definitely hosted when Skip was still there.
Yeah.
So it had to have been at least 10 years.
But that's crazy that she wasn't even making $1 million a year. That was like a babysitting job for like watching Stephen A. like yelling at people.
But the question is, what is she going to do next? Is she just going to, do a podcast?
Yeah, I think that's where
You
that's
don't think
heading.
she's going to get another hosting job somewhere?
The rumors are that the other network that's never going to be ESPN wants her over there, FS1.
Well, a
But
whole lot of that wouldn't surprise me if she ended up going over there.
but she's not going to turn ratings if that's what they're looking for, though.
But that can be said about anybody in her position.
No, I'm saying like if they're looking at that as she's a name thing, they're not going to get anything from that. She's great. She's a great host. Like she has a personality, but she's not going to flip the ratings if that's what they're looking for.
That can be said no matter who you hire as a host. But I think that she is the best host of all the hosts. She's got to be the best one. I think largely because of experience. Like I can't think of any host of these shows or a moderator that is better than Molly Caron.
Well, the report's also because Burt Magnus, who's the head of content at ESPN, did a podcast with Richard Dysage, who's also at The Athletic, does the sports media podcast. He came out and said that even if she was coming back, she was not coming back to First Take after the end of the year.
Do you think it's possible she just wanted a change and she was just doing that for so long?
Yeah, she wanted to do her own show. Apparently, was the report.
Yeah, I get it. It's doing the same job for 10 years is a long time. It's a really long time, unless
in this business it feels like an
certainly
eternity.
In sports media, certainly in sports media.
But apparently, they balked at her doing her own show, and they balked at paying her more money. Apparently.
I think they probably should have given her a chance to do her own show. I mean, I feel like she's earned her dues.
10 years is a long time at any media company. I don't care what you...
But also, not just at a media company, doing the same exact job.
Like I said, it's a babysitting job,
and
what she did.
You also have to remember, she also had much more of a role, especially after Skip Bayless left and Stephen A. Smith kind of took control. She had much more of a role on that show than hosts normally do.
The surprising thing is, with the amount of money he's making, they should force him to just host the show every day for the amount of money they're paying. But
although it is weird to me that he doesn't even have a co-host. It's just a revolving door of people. Only Mad Dog on Wednesdays.
I think it's seasonal based on whatever sport is essentially in. So that's why, like, now you're seeing what's his name? Marcus why am I forgetting his name?
Spears,
Yeah, Marcus Spears,
Paul Feinbaum.
Paul Feinbaum, Ryan Clark, who I can't stand right now.
Yeah, Ryan Clark sucks.
I can't take him and his opinions. Who else? Well, Drew Brees now. Oh, Cam Newton, who just signed a new 2-year deal with ESPN.
He dresses like it's the 1800s.
I know, with the
I've
big,
never seen anybody dress like that.
with the big giant like magician hat.
Yeah.
I like him though. Like he's got some personality. Like I think he actually is good for that show because he'll hold Stephen A. accountable.
Yeah.
Sometimes Mad Dog is good for that show because he'll hold Stephen A. accountable at
And
times.
the other way around too, because Mad Dog has some absurd takes.
I mean, the Canelo Crawford saying that he wouldn't stay up for the fight because he had a tea time in the morning. That was probably one of the funniest things I ever saw. The Mad About segment has made that show better.
Oh, definitely. It's a great idea.
Whoever did that is brilliant, by the way, because they knew how to get to Mad Dog and get him to tick.
And it's always over the most silly, mundane things.
It's true. Like betting. Like he'll do sports betting sometimes, which is funny. Or the gummies. The gummy thing always makes
The
me
gummy
laugh.
thing is always great. He was even freaking out about Penn State's like preseason ranking. Like he freaks out about things that nobody cares about a lot of times.
Or really old things.
Yeah, that too.
All right,
That
what
too.
else we got?
All right. So can we get into another edition of the comment section?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. So this is in response to Johnny's warning against the Giants to not start Jackson Dart too soon.
Oops.
Johnny's been warning them a lot. Obviously, the Giants don't follow the podcast. So somebody comments and says, Dart was drafted in this situation to sit and learn. Don't rush him. I can't really disagree with that.
That's a good one.
Maybe we should have a new thing where like I rate the comments.
Yes.
Like what Jim Rome does with callers.
Yes.
Somebody else comments, Dable deserves to be fired. Already 3 games in, and Russ has basically handed the game away twice. Giants could have won, but the stubbornness to not at least put Jameis in and bench Russ cost this, not writing this very well, cost this wins, and now they're 0-3. Disappointing. Okay.
I think he's right, partially.
Okay, I think Brian Dable should have been fired last year.
Yeah.
If you had told me the Giants would go 0-3 with their current schedule, I mean, that's not surprising, like, at all, I would say. I mean, they played who did they play week 1? They played
Washington.
Okay, so they played the Commanders, the Cowboys, and the Chiefs. Every Giant fan in America would have told you they're probably going to start 0-3. I don't think it's a huge big deal that they're starting 0-3.
I think people are more upset over the division losses, probably.
Well, no, it's more the Cowboys lost because they could have easily won that game. The thing is that I think one of the biggest problems, first of all, they weren't going to beat the Chiefs. Like that was not likely going to happen.
Anyone who thought they were going to beat the Chiefs was smoking something because the Chiefs were angry after being 0-2. They didn't play well either. Let's be real. They didn't look great in that game. Travis Kelce looks like a shell of himself.
The Chiefs' offense almost looked something that wasn't right about it. The thing is that Russell Wilson played really well against the Cowboys. So if Russell Wilson didn't play as good as he did, the Giants are not in that game. Even though he threw a terrible interception at the end, he still was great.
Well, let me ask you one question, though. So when I'm trying to remember the scenario in the game. It was the end of the fourth quarter when they scored that touchdown. Would you have gone for 2?
At the end of
regulation to win to make it that they had to score a touchdown because then they would have been up by 4.
Oh, they would have been up by 4 instead of 3?
And then that field goal would have meant nothing because they would have had to drive downfield.
I don't know. That's tough. I would say probably not.
And I understand why people say no, because if you miss the
right, then a field goal wins them the game.
Right. So I guess that's a damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario, kind of.
I would say no because I'd rather be ahead of. I would rather be up. I mean, I would rather just go up the 3 points.
I
That's
mean,
what I would.
Brandon Aubrey's just a miracle kicker too.
Yeah, I would probably rather have just gone up 3 points.
The 64-yard field goal to tie the game, though, was just. I mean, that's just bad luck.
Yeah, yeah. Like, look, that's just tough. Like, but in terms of in terms of why Brian, like I said, Brian Dable should have been fired last year. He's not. I don't think Brian Dable's a good head coach.
I don't. I think
mean,
he's a
Daniel
terrible
Jones.
head coach.
Look at what Daniel Jones is doing in Indianapolis. And by
Well,
the way, the Colts are not good for young quarterbacks.
well, I would say that's a different scenario. Even though I agree with you, Dable's not a good head coach, but I think Daniel Jones has more weapons with the
Sure.
Colts than the Giants, and also the Giants' offensive line is Swiss cheese. And I say this all the time.
Well, the issue is, I mean, here's the thing. I very much agree with the notion that it's better for Jackson Dart to sit out and learn. However, that also is under the assumption that Russell Wilson is able to hold it down. And look, if he's going to throw a whole bunch of crucial interceptions, you might as well just put Jackson Dart in, and he's going to do the same thing.
But it
So
didn't. But it didn't make sense in the scenario that they did it in the game. Like they put him in there, he wasn't really doing much, and then all of a sudden they put Russ back in. Like it didn't add up.
It also doesn't make sense exactly right now because they have a gauntlet of a schedule coming up.
I'm looking at it. I mean, so they're 0-3. They're going to lose to the Chargers. We already know that. The Chargers are on fire. Justin Herbert looks like the second coming of you know what lately.
Yeah.
Their first win, well, I shouldn't say that, but they play in New Orleans. You would hope they would win that.
It would be really bad if they don't. I mean, look, if you're going to start Jackson Dart, that's almost the best time to start him. But the thing is, if they're going to start him, they shouldn't do it until the schedule gets a little bit easier.
Well, after week 5, which is the Saints, now they could be 0-5 at that point, for all we know. But they have Philadelphia 2 of the next 3 weeks after week 5. So they play Philadelphia at home on Thursday night on Prime Video. Then they go on the road to Mile High, and they got to play in Denver. And then they have to go back to Philadelphia and play there. I wouldn't be surprised if they lost all 3 of those games.
No, and also, and then they play the 49. Like, the 49ers are one of the easier teams on their schedule. Like, they're
I don't think they're going to beat them, though.
No, but the point is that their schedule at least gets a little easier later in the season. It's probably better to start Jackson Dart later in the season than it is to throw him into the fire and then potentially need to bench him, which is a much worse situation for everybody if they end up putting in Jackson Dart and then they have to bench him for Russell and put Russell Wilson back in. Then it looks like they don't know what they're doing.
I'm trying to find a win for them on the schedule, like after week 5, where hopefully they beat New Orleans. But so Philadelphia at home, I don't think they win that. At Denver, even though I agree with you now, Denver has been a little up and down as of late. And obviously what happened in that game against the Colts, being called for leverage and losing that game, which was terrible, by the way. Then they have San Francisco. So Philly, Denver, Philly, then San Francisco at home. Then they go on the road to Chicago. That's winnable. So
definitely winnable. Although even in that game, Chicago is probably going to be favored. And then after they play the Lions, they do have the Patriots, Commanders, Vikings, Raiders, Cowboys. So it's much easier then.
The back half at the very end is much easier.
And that's the best time to start him because at that point, the Giants are more likely to have nothing to play for anyway. But right now, I'm afraid that they're going to put Jackson Dart in. He's going to struggle. And then the Giants are going to have to do a reversal and then put in Jameis Winston or put in Russell Wilson. So it's that's the problem. And what I've always said is that it's a lot better. It's way better for the rookie quarterback to sit behind the more experienced quarterback and then put him in if you need, and then bench the more experienced quarterback than the other way around. You don't want to put the rookie in and then bench him and then put the more experienced guy in.
I just hope they get a win in week 5 because if they don't, they could go over until they get to week 17 against the Raiders. I could see them.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think that part of the reason I think it's especially a bad idea to put in Jackson Dart now is because they have the easiest game on their schedule against the Saints. And the thing is that it's going to be Jackson Dart's second start. The last thing you want to do is potentially jeopardize a game that's the easiest on your schedule. With surrounded by a gauntlet of teams
No,
that you're playing.
that's what I mean. Like, they better win week 5 in New Orleans.
That's why I think it's crazy Brian Dable is starting him this week. They'd be much better off with Russell Wilson because they're probably not going to beat the Chargers regardless.
They're going to get killed by the Chargers.
Right, and you can trust somebody like Russell Wilson a lot more against the Saints than you can Jackson Dart because we don't really know what Jackson Dart's going to give you yet. And you want to make sure that you can win that game.
To be honest, if they're 0-5 going into playing Philadelphia, I'd fire Dable right there before Philadelphia.
Dable should have been fired. Dable and Shane both should have been fired.
Shane is a terrible GM.
And I never understood why some Giant fans didn't put blame on either one of them. Like, a lot of people were like, well, neither one of them is the problem. Well, it's like, you have no offensive line. Your quarterback stinks. Somebody's got to be the problem. It can't be neither of them.
Well,
Like,
someone's got to take the blame. And obviously, because we live in a player culture society, it's never the player's fault, even though it should be.
But the point is that even if it is the player's fault, somebody drafted those players. Somebody's the head of those players.
Well, like you said before, I think everyone's kicking themselves now because Daniel Jones is 3-0 and completing almost 75% of his passes.
I think this too will pass a bit with Daniel Jones. I think he'll come back down to earth. But the point is that the Giants, they would have been better off moving on from both of them after last season.
Okay, so then let me ask you, who's the head coach? At that case, if you fire Dable,
I don't know. Maybe they could have hired Vrabel.
That would have been a great hire because he's a tough guy. Like, that would have been. But I always think he was going to end up in New England at some point.
He likely was anyway. They could have hired Doug Peterson.
Doug Peterson.
Probably a better option than Brian Dable.
No, I agree. But he's a little unconventional. But yes, he's a success. That's for sure. I'm surprised how fast Philadelphia moved off of him, though. After they won.
I think they moved. I think that Doug Peterson gets a bad rap because he tanked the last game of the season. It seemed like.
Was that the game they got fined on or no?
I don't remember. But, people forget. Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl with a backup quarterback.
Nick Foles. Yeah.
He beat Bill Belichick with a backup quarterback. You can't take that away from him.
By the way,
he can't be that bad of a coach.
I think Nick Foles will have a free meal in Philadelphia for as long as he wants. I think. Just because of the way that was an unbelievable performance in every way, shape, or form.
If you're interested, and we're almost done, but
yeah.
Seattle is up 20-13. 2 minutes left in the game. Arizona has the ball.
Yeah, for the only one that didn't take the 1.5, taking the points was Ben. So he took Arizona to win outright, he said.
Oh, another thing. Umpires confiscate White Sox reliever's glove.
Again?
Is another sticky stuff thing?
Yeah, probably.
Are the White Sox now cheating? It's not working very well. That's when Paul LaDuca took steroids.
Actually, what is this? Did the White Sox beat the Yankees?
I don't know.
Let's see. No, they came back and won. They came back and won.
The Yankees have nothing to play for anyway.
No, that's not true.
Right, the Mets won. All right, good news. The Mets won 8-5.
Wait a minute. No, that's not true. The Yankees and the Blue Jays are tied at the top of the AL East.
No, you're right. You're right. I mean, I meant to say that the Yankees at least have
a playoff clincher. Yeah,
they clinched the playoffs, unlike the Mets.
Oh, so they're still holding on for dear life, regardless.
The Reds. By the way, the Reds won the game against the Pirates because of a robbed home run.
I did see that. Yes. That was an incredible catch, by the way.
I'm really glad I didn't see that.
Why? You would have panicked the heck out of that afterwards.
Wait, so I got some I have some more comments left.
Okay.
So these are just replies to the other comments.
I love when people fight in replies of a comment.
Oh, yeah, that happens all the time. Somebody says in response to the comment that says Dable deserves to be fired, Somebody said, you can't seriously think Jameis would lead this team to more wins than Russ. I'm a huge Jameis Winston fan, but come on. I didn't know anybody would ever say I'm a huge Jameis Winston fan.
That's shocking. That's shocking.
I have to say I agree with this guy. Somebody comments, Russ is a turnover machine, straight booty cheeks, literally PMO, just watching that atrocious style of play. Jameis could definitely do significantly better considering how low the bar is for that offense. I really just doubt that. I doubt that.
That's funny.
I mean, Jameis Winston is known for being a turnover machine, a little bit of a gunslinger, a bit of a reckless gunslinger.
I mean, at times I forgot which game it was. Was it the first game where he just totally overthrew everybody? I think it was the Commanders game, right? Where he just missed badly. And I'm like, oh, it's going to be one of those years for the Giants.
They're not going to put Jameis in. They're not going to put him in. They're going to, if anything, they're going to, like, I just never thought they would do that. The thing with Dart, though, is that at least there's less of a downside. If Jackson Dart throws a whole bunch of interceptions in crucial spots, it's a learning experience for him. It's not the same thing with Russell Wilson. Jackson Dart is essentially the student, the guy, the trainee, or you can say. So it's just a little different if he makes mistakes compared to Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised the Giants really brought him in, to be honest.
But look, Dable, his objective is keeping his job. That's really what his objective is. It's not really about the Giants winning. It's really about him keeping his job. I mean, the only way he keeps his job is for the Giants to win some games. But, that's his whole – he's trying to save face.
By the way, did you see also Maverick Carter's proposed European League is moving ahead while the NBA explores similar opportunities abroad?
I heard something about it.
So Adam Silver said at the Front Office Sports Tuned In event, competition is good. It keeps everyone on their toes.
Yeah.
Don't tell the WNBA and Unrivaled that.
Or like this is going to be competition to the NBA.
First of all, this European League, the NBA guys wouldn't even be able to compete in it anyway.
No.
So it's never going to be a direct competitor to the NBA. I mean, that's like Kathy Engelbert, the commissioner of the WNBA, saying that Unrivaled is not a competition to her league, when Unrivaled is paying them more.
Yeah. All right. That's our show this week. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, to Moving the Goalpost Leftovers. You can see me on Wednesday night for another edition of Moving the Goalpost. See you then.
See you then, guys. See you around.